And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey everybody, I'm Tom Vasel. Welcome to Dice Tower Classic Reviews, where I take a look at older games that might not have had a full Dice Tower video review and explain why they're in my collection still, why I like them a lot. And today we're starting with a game called Mamma Mia. So in Mamma Mia, the main element of this game is memory, but don't turn off the video yet, because I know there's a lot of people out there who don't like memory games. Maybe you're not very good at memory games, or maybe you think the person with the best memory wins. But this game here, folks, is designed by the great Uwe Rosenberg of Agricola fame, Caverna, Feast of Odin. But before he did all that stuff, he was known for his card games. The most famous of those being Bonanza, but my favorite of his little card games is Mamma Mia. It's a simple game where you're making pizzas all at the same time, all using the same oven. Here's how it plays. The game comes with a deck of ingredient cards. We have peppers, pepperoni, pineapple, mushrooms, and olives. So this deck of cards is going to be shuffled at the beginning of the game. Each person is going to get 6 cards. Each player also has an 8-card deck of recipes. Now each player is going to be kind of concentrated on a color. So for example, the green player here, this pizza needs 4 pepperonis and a pepper, 4 pineapples and a pepper, 4 olives and a pepper, etc. While the brown one is all about getting a mushroom and other ingredients. Each player is going to shuffle their deck and draw one of these into your hand. So you have a 7-card hand made up of 1 recipe and 6 ingredient cards. On a player's turn, they must put at least 1 ingredient into the oven. This is a shared pile between all players. You may put 1 type of ingredient only. So I could put out 1 pineapple, or I could put out 2 pineapples. I could put out 1 mushroom, 2 mushrooms, or multiple mushrooms. And I just say what I put in the pile. So if I put out 2 mushrooms, I would say 2 mushrooms. You then may, if you want to, play a recipe card. You don't have to. In fact, most of your turns you won't. You'll then draw back up to 7 cards, but you're either going to draw from the ingredient pile or from your recipe pile to fill your hand. You can't draw from both. In the ingredient deck, there's this card, the Mamma Mia card. If you get this, you just place it face up. You'll be the person who just kind of facilitates scoring at the end of a round, and then you redraw it. You keep going until the ingredient deck runs out. At that point, you're going to flip over this whole pile here and score it. Let's show an example of this. So let's say this is the deck here. So we start turning the ingredients over, and I'm going to kind of place them together. You can see there's 2 pineapples, there's 2 mushrooms, a pepperoni, a black olive here. Let's keep going. Another pineapple, another mushroom. So we turn over a recipe. This recipe must be made with ingredients that have shown up thus far. Now you see that this one needs 1 of each. However, it needs a pepper, and there are no peppers out there. So this would fail, which means it's going to be discarded, given back to that player. They'll put it on the bottom of their deck of ingredient cards. However, if they have a pepper still in their hand, because players might have a few cards left in their hand, they could play that pepper. When that happens, you'll just take all the ingredients used to make this pizza, and this will score 1 point for the player, the green player in this case, who did it. And then we just keep going through. So there's another pineapple, another pepperoni, a black olive, a black olive, a black olive. Here we need 3 of the lowest number in a mushroom. So we have a mushroom, but the lowest thing here is pepperoni. There's not 3 pepperonis. They don't have 3 pepperonis in their hands, so this is discarded. We draw an olive, we have a pepper, another pepper, a pepperoni. This one needs 4 pineapples and a pepperoni. Done. Those are taken out. Along with that, red gets a point. Another mushroom, a pepper, a pineapple. This needs 15 ingredients. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. But lo and behold, that person has 3 ingredients in their hand. That wipes everything. which is not good for this person because they also played their 15 ingredient and they don't get anything. And then you keep going. And you're just going to keep going till you go through the whole deck. Players are going to keep any recipes that they've scored. They're out of the game. They can't do that recipe again, and you start another round. You're going to play 3 rounds, and after 3 rounds, whoever has the most points is the winner. If it's a tie, whoever has the most ingredients left in their hand is the winner. Component-wise, the cards are really good quality. The picture is not great art, but it's works for what it is. I do think it's funny that pineapple is one of the toppings here, considering the number of very vocal people who don't love this delicious thing on a pizza. But you know, whatever. They have these 5 things. They work with the 5 different colors that are out there. And the colors doesn't really matter because you're picked one of the ingredients. They don't really take a big difference from this. But this is it. This is everything that comes with the game. The small little rule book here works really well at explaining it, although it is kind of one of those games you need to see played to get it. Mamma Mia is a game that I often play at conventions because people haven't heard of it before, or if they heard of it, they haven't played it. So I'm like, oh yeah, let's try this game out. And I teach it, and it's one of those games where I'm pretty good at teaching it now, but it's also been on a top 10 list I've done in the past of games I have a hard time teaching because saying the rules doesn't make any sense. When I teach it, I do exactly what I did in the overview here, where I just take a deck and play it out. And then people go, oh. Because the game is a memory game. You're placing ingredients. Everyone's placing ingredients, and you go, okay, I saw there are 4 pepperonis and a mushroom. I got a card for that. Boom. But as you play more and more ingredients, and you're watching everybody, and you put the things on, the memory now becomes, there's a bunch of ingredients, but it's subtracted of that thing that person put in. That person put in a recipe, but I don't think it's enough, so it probably won't subtract it, so I can probably play mine. That's just, I don't know, there's just something really entertaining about it. It feels great when you flip over all the cards. Sometimes people just throw a recipe in, like, I think there's enough ingredients for that, and then it works, it feels amazing. It doesn't work, you're like, ah. And then, of course, you can keep a couple ingredients in your hand at the end of the game to be able to fill in your recipes. You want to be playing recipes as much as you possibly can. It's cool. The one thing is, there's the different recipes. One, you need 6 of one and one. The one recipe I find slightly confusing is the one that says you need 3 of the fewest ingredients out there. That I find to be a bit problematic just to teach people. But it's once you play it a couple times, it does make sense. There is another game in this line called Solo Mio, which is the exact same game, but you can combine them. And it just has different kinds of recipes. It has a few more funky rules of how the recipes work and such, but you can mix them together. But I'm really happy with this one. It's a nice portable game. You can see this. I don't have the original box anymore. I put it in one of my photo cases here. But I like the portability. I like how quick it is to teach. It's a good, solid family game. And it's one that everyone's talking and having a blast, and it causes laughter. That whole counting out the deck at the end. Everyone's invested in it. It's humorous. So even if you don't like memory games, and I get that, this still might be one that works for you because it's just silly fun. I mean, there's some strategy to it, don't get me wrong, but it's silly fun and entertaining. It's up to 5 players, and I think it scales pretty well in that regard. Check it out. Mamma Mia. I'm Tom Vasel. You've been watching the Dice Tower. Dice Tower judgment approved.